All right, so today I want to thank all the parents who have come out to this meeting. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules. I know that you guys have a lot to do, so we'll just get right into it. But today I wanted to talk to you guys about our attitude when facing failure. Because, no one likes the word failure. No one likes to admit that when they failed. And so today I'm going to talk about what the issues are around that way of thinking about failure and what we can do to change. So the issue is that we see failure and success as two different things. We see that as going in two different directions that they don't lead to the same place. They're just disconnected. And that failure is always negative. If we fail, that means we lost, which means that we didn't succeed, right? However, I want to talk about today how we can change our perspective of what failure is and how really it is life's greatest teacher. Because this is false, right? So, in my studies that I looked at, there was one study in 2012 that was from a college in Tanzania, actually, which I thought was interesting. And they did a study on 260 undergraduate students. And although this data doesn't represent all colleges and all students everywhere, I feel like it gives a good idea of what the students feel like attributes to their success or their failure. So, only 58% of students contributed their performance, whether failure or success, to internal causes, which is basically to say it was the cause of their own efforts, of their own abilities, and not outside forces, like whether they liked the class or not, things like that. And however, some 57%, actually a little more than half, believe that no matter how hard I try, I still cannot compete with biased teachers. Now, me as a student, I've definitely had that feeling of having a teacher that just didn't seem as interested, just seemed like they weren't invested in my success. And it felt like it was hard to fight against that, and that, maybe my success wasn't possible because of a teacher. However, what I really want to point out and think about is that 93% of the students agreed that the cause that made me succeed or fail is something that I can change. Why is this so important? The way we view our successes and failures is what's going to help us really grow and really move forward in life. And if all students around the world could have this view that whatever causes me to succeed or fail is something I can change. If I failed, I can change that. That's so important, that ability to realize that just because one has failed doesn't mean that they can't have future successes or that this can lead to a success. Now, I interviewed a high school English teacher at Orem High School. Her name is Meredith McNett, and she's actually my aunt. And as we discussed together, like what the parents' view is of when she gives a bad grade, or what the students' view is, we came to some conclusions. And one of the maybe obvious things, but maybe not so obvious, is that no teacher wants their student to fail. I believe, sometimes as parents or students, we can really believe that the teacher just has it in for us. But for the most part, this isn't true. Most teachers that go into high school teaching are there because they want students to succeed. They want students to learn. And another point that we brought up was that students really need to understand that failure is a part of life, that people are going to do better than them, or there will be days where they make mistakes and maybe not get a certain job that they really wanted, or maybe didn't pass a class that they really were trying to shoot for. And that this doesn't mean that they're a failure for life. However, people aren't going to win all the time. And one thing that she also discussed with me was that the motivation of the student, one of those internal causes, that motivation was such a key to their success. And all of this, I think, feeds into what could be a solution to this problem of looking at failure negatively. All of us as parents want our children to succeed or even be more successful than we are, And we just need to change our perspective, our outlook on failure, and help our kids understand that if they take a failure as a step towards success instead of a step backward or as a wall in our way to success, then those students will be able to grow and improve. No one grows without going through some rough times. And I believe all of you as parents know this, but sometimes it can be so hard to let our kids fail because we want to protect them. We want to let them never have to maybe go through the hard times that we did. But this is key for them to be able to have the same growth that we have as parents. And I believe that we can work closer with teachers as much as possible to understand what your students' grades are or why they got this result on a test. Just be involved and try to understand that the teacher and the student have to work together, but that student motivation is so important. And so I want to finish off in conclusion with the words of a very well-known basketball player on why success, or I guess why failure can lead to success. So let me set this up really fast. Okay. Let's see here. Okay.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
9,000 missed shots. Who has failed before?
And just going along with what Michael Jordan said, one of the greatest basketball players, probably the greatest basketball player of all time. It was because he failed over and over and over again that gave him that drive to keep shooting. And even though he missed 26 game-winning shots, we might miss 26 or more life-winning opportunities, we can keep going and still be some of the most successful students and parents that we can be.